In 1787, the framers arrived in Philadelphia to navigate a singular challenge, transforming 13 independent, fractured states into one functional nation. They were trapped in a paradox. Creating a central government too weak would lead to national collapse, but making it too strong risked recreating the same kind of tyranny and unfair taxation they had just fought a war to escape. State leaders were deeply skeptical. They feared handing over their local sovereignty to a distant national authority would inevitably backfire. Advocates for a stronger system, like John Jay and Alexander Hamilton, had to systematically convince these leaders that a new shared power structure would protect their states rather than erase them. The solution was a system called federalism. Instead of placing all authority under one absolute ruler, federalism splits the difference, allowing two or more levels of government to exercise power over the exact same citizens and the exact same physical territory. Federalism was a mechanical compromise, engineered to prevent national collapse while systematically blocking the path toward a central dictatorship. To see how this engine actually runs, we have to look at how the Constitution divides its authority. It starts with delegated powers, the specific jobs handed directly to the national government. The most obvious of these are the expressed powers, which are the rules written plainly right into the first 3 articles. The text explicitly states that the national government gets to levy taxes, declare war, and crucially, coin its own money. But a government can't possibly predict every challenge it will face across centuries, so the Constitution also grants implied powers. These are the broad, unwritten authorities the federal government claims it needs to actually carry out its written duties. The Constitution never mentions space exploration, yet because the text gives the government the expressed power to regulate business and defend the country, it implies the authority to build this historic NASA mission control room and send humans to the moon. That exact same broad mandate for national defense was also used to justify the creation of the nuclear weapons program. The implied powers act as a legal loophole. By linking modern actions to original words, an 18th century paper document successfully governs a 21st century technological superpower. The national government holds a lot of cards, but as this sorting visualization shows, the states actually hold more. The Constitution relies on a catch-all rule called reserved powers. Any authority not explicitly given to the federal government defaults entirely to the states. That means states retain total control over things that impact everyday life, like regulating trade within their borders, managing elections, and establishing local schools. There is also a middle ground called concurrent powers. Both state and federal governments operate simultaneously here, meaning both levels have the authority to tax citizens, maintain courts, and take private property for public use. But the framers also drew hard lines that neither side is allowed to cross. These are known as denied powers. Article 1 clearly lists these absolute boundaries. Neither government can deny a person a fair trial or pass retroactive laws that punish people for things they did before a law even existed. Furthermore, states are strictly prohibited from making treaties with foreign governments or minting their own independent currency. By rigorously listing exactly what the government cannot do alongside what it can do, the framers built a sturdy protective cage around both state and federal authority. A shared system is bound to experience friction, so what happens when those meticulously drawn jurisdictional lines overlap and a state law directly contradicts a national law? Take the voting age as a real-world flashpoint. The 26th Amendment to the Constitution sets a baseline national standard, making 18-year-olds eligible to vote. Imagine a local election board steps in, and a state attempts to enforce its own law, demanding voters must be at least 21. To resolve gridlock, the framers included a failsafe in Article 6, known as the Supremacy Clause. This legal hierarchy tree shows the U.S. Constitution sitting at the absolute peak. The Supremacy Clause dictates that national law is the highest law of the land, legally forcing judges to strike down that 21-year-old state law. Interestingly, a state could legally lower the voting age to 16 because expanding the right doesn't conflict with the federal baseline. Federalism functions as the active operating system of the country, using national laws to provide unity while allowing local governments to manage the specific needs of their own communities.